guys, my name is Jen Priester with Jen Priester Photography, and my website is newbornsbyjen.com. I just wanted to show you how I do this composite image when I'm editing. I have seen this done like a zillion times on YouTube, but I wanted to share one with what happens when the baby moves, which does happen sometimes. And sometimes you can't really get the shot again because the baby moves and wakes up or whatever. But whenever you get this, you want to try to make sure that it's at least somewhat similar on the head. So what we're going to start with, whenever I do the shot, I do it as a composite. So I have my parent, the parent of the baby, one of them, either the dad or the mom. And so anyway, I have them hold the top of the head and then have them hold down here. And sometimes the baby will move if they startle or whatever. So all right, let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this part from the other shot. So, and he had his hand in here just because the baby was starting to move. So he pulled his hand back in there to get him, and I had to hurry up and get it. So we're going to go like this. And I'm going to use the lasso tool, by the way, so you can push L to do that, or it's right here on the left. And you're going to push, let me make sure that I went down enough. I think we need to we're going to go down a little bit more. So I can always layer mask it. Alright, Control or Command C. So I'm on a Mac, so it's Command for me. And you're going to pull this over here. The first thing I'm going to do is lower the opacity to make sure that the head is the proper size. So it looks like it could go up a little bit. Sorry. Oh, no. I think I meant down. Okay, so his head is down. So first thing I'm going to do is go down here on the bottom right and click the layer mask button. Looks like a square with a circle. And since it's white, I'm going to make sure my color is black. We're going to push B, which is the brush tool. And I use this one, which is called Soft Round Pressure Opacity. And I always keep my opacity up here about around the 50s, the flow around the 50s. So we're going to go in close here, zoom in, and we're going to start doing this. And I highly recommend doing layer masking because it just makes it so much easier. I actually never used to do it, and I am so glad that I do it now because I can fix things like this where I just masked in his hand and just erase it back. Okay. It's not perfect. I mean, I guess I could just hurry and perfect it. If it's not, you can always fix it later too. I'm just gonna fix that with patch tool later so it's easier. Alright. I might actually turn this up a little because it seems like it's being kind of crazy. Alright, and we're going to get close up here. Yeah, I want to get that little hair because it's so cute. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to fix the background anyway. This was a really wrinkly fabric. So as you can see, whenever we push the eyeball button here, I have some fixing to do on his head here. So we are going to start brushing his forehead. Now I don't want to go up to his hair because it's going to look really uneven if I, unbrush it. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that in a minute. But I'm just going to be brushing like up to here. I think his dad's hand is, it's right by here, so I have to be careful. And I've noticed that when you do this, if you use a bigger brush, like, bigger, it's better, in my opinion, whenever you're brushing stuff like this, because if you use small, it'll be like that. That's just an example, but, and it takes longer. Let's get this. So that's pretty good. I will do this a few times usually just to make sure everything's good. And I actually just messed this up, so I just switched my brush color. You know what, I'm just going to do there. The history is what I should have done. Alright, we're going to push, I think it's, my fingers know it, but I don't know it. Command-Shift-E. Yeah. And we're going to fix this with patch tool after I duplicate a layer, Command-J. And this is one of my favorite, absolute favorite things. It hasn't always been out since I started. This is my 5th year of business. I started in 2011 in January. So anyway, we didn't have this back then, but it just started, I don't know, a few years ago. I don't remember when, but it just started. I know it was after. And, well, at least that I know of, I guess, but content aware. So for me, it's Shift F5. I think it's on Edit. Yeah, Edit Fill. And by the way, I recommend learning all of the shortcuts because it just makes editing so much faster. Like over here, patch tools J, brushes B, lassos L, you know, so it just makes it so much easier with editing. So make sure my brightness is all the way up. Okay, so I push Shift F5 and it takes you to fill, so make sure it's content aware, push OK. Content aware is iffy, sometimes it's really good, sometimes it's really bad. So, but it took the hand out, so that's good. And we're gonna just fix up some of these. So I'm gonna actually end up brushing this background because of how wrinkly it is. Because yeah, it's a little too wrinkly for my tastes. Some of my fabric that I have is just too crazy and too wrinkly, and you just have to deal with what you got. So now we're going to be doing patch tool again with just getting some of the stuff out here. He had a little milk bubbles over here, so we're going to be fixing that as well. Just fixing some easy stuff here really quick. Get a little scratch here. He was so cute. He was amazing. He was such a good sleeper. He slept the whole time. I had his parents come back and we did a really cool shot of him on a bike outside. It was back in October. He was just such a good sleeper. I was like, oh my gosh, he slept the whole time. He's so sweet. I always love it when babies sleep because then you get to do lots of stuff. Okay. I think that's good. I'm kind of being a little too intricate here. Okay, so we're going to fix these last few little skin flakes, I call them. He doesn't have many. Maybe this red thing. Get a red mark. This would actually be a good time to use when I lower the opacity here. Okay, so I command J to make a new layer, you know, just to fix that, because yeah, whoa, I always do that. It actually is a little bit too, but we'll fix it. Okay, now we're going to fix the milk bubbles real quick. So I'm going to get really close. I don't usually ever have to go in this close. I'm zoomed in at 400%. When I check focus, I usually don't go any more than 100%. So yeah, this is really close, but sometimes you got to go close to edit really intricately. But yeah, so I know a lot of people use clone. I don't use clone. I could use it in this instance if patch doesn't work, but patch tool is just so amazing. Ever since I discovered it, I probably use clone like 10 times a year. I don't use it that often. Okay, so I think we're gonna put this over here so it's a little darker, and the last thing that I want to do is fix this part right here. Yeah. Oh, and something that you want to know is make sure that you're on source up here. Destination is actually a really cool tool. Obviously, we're not going to be using it now, but you can, like, yeah, do cool stuff with it. You can have another eye. Okay, so obviously you would not use it for that, but, oops, I forgot to put it back on. But I'll use it with certain things when I want to repeat stuff and everything. I'll use it every so often. Let's put this up here. Sweet little lips. Okay, now the last thing that is noticeable is this little white thing here. Probably the rest of the milk. I think he actually, like, if I remember correctly. I think he ate right before he came, so. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is fix his skin color. He has a few colors. He has some red, some yellow. He was an olive skin baby, so I'm not gonna make him peach because his skin tone was just an olive color. So the first action I'm gonna use, and I'll link these in the description below, is, oops, not that one. It's called No More Yellow, and it is by Lynn. She's the Square Balloon Actions and Tutorials. She's really awesome. I just noticed this line up here. Not that it matters, but we're gonna fix it. Okay. So I use this with every jaundice baby that I have. I know some photographers like to keep jaundice and red in. I don't, just because, you know, we can all do it how we want, but babies aren't naturally jaundiced, so I like to make their skin tones good, like, you know, natural colors. So, like what color they would be if they were not jaundiced. So, okay, so that took the yellow out. Now, second, what I'm going to do is, actually I'm going to fix his elbows. So this is probably being nitpicky, but I'm going to bring up Liquify, which is Command, Shift, and X. That's the funny thing about using these shortcuts, is you forget like how to get there because your fingers like know how to do it and you don't know what to do. You're like, oh, I don't even know how to do it. So it's kind of funny because sometimes like people ask me how I did something. I'm like, I don't know. I have to put my computer in front of me because my fingers are the ones that know how to do it. So I like how it just made them even. All right, next what we're going to do is we're going to add a soft light layer. So I do this to every session that I do. Just lower the opacity. So I like the shadow that it gives the depth. And then the next thing that we're going to do is he has some red in his hands. So we're going to push Command J to make a new layer, Command U. And then you're going to push right here where it says Master, you're going to put it like on yellow. And you're going to then you're going to do a very red part on him. So his feet are pretty red. And then I'll take you to reds too. And we're going to lower the saturation of the reds. And we're going to increase the brightness. And we're going to go down here again, do a layer mask, push, when you're clicked on here, push Command I or Shift I. Anytime I say Command, you can push Shift if you're Windows. And now we're going to brush the reds off of him. Okay, so this is good. Just taking some of the reds out here. Now, that looks good. I want to make sure I didn't get his lips though. So we're going to push the X button to get it back to black. And we're going to color his lips here, so, and his hair. All right, and actually that's what I forgot to do. So Command J, you're going to pull up Liquify, Shift, Command X. And I want to fix his hair because his hair was moved over because his head was turned. So that's more realistic. Now his head is straight. Hair is straight. Okay, now my other action that I use every session is my favorite, and it is by Twig and Olive Photography, and it is the best red remover action that I've ever used because it doesn't turn them yellow like most of them do. Oops. It actually takes the red out, and as you can see, so. And then my absolute favorite thing about this action is this Lighten Me, which seems to take red out and make them the right color. So as you can see, now obviously I'm going to be decreasing the opacity here. So yeah, that's good. I think I might actually put a little bit of red back into his toes though, because I like little red toes. That's what color they're. My hands and my toes are kind of red, so. Okay, I just saw an eye boogie in his eye here, so let's get that out. Now, if you want to like zoom in to a ridiculous amount like I am right now, then you're going to notice stuff, but it's really what you notice when you're far back. So, the last thing that we're going to do, I'm going to be fixing these lines here real quick, is I'm going to brush the background here because I don't want it to be, oops, this crazy. So we are going to push Command J, and I'm going to push W, which brings up the, I always forget what this is called, quick selection tool. And we're gonna select it all around this little dude's face. I think he was 90s old here. He was so cute. It's one of my favorite babies. Every baby's my favorite though. Alright. And I'm not just saying that. I like love every baby that I photograph. It's the best job ever. Alright, now I'm pushing Refine Edge, and I'm gonna be doing this on his hair because, and he has what I call bird hair. I love this hair. I love when I have babies with hair like that because they don't all have hair like that. It's like fuzzy and it won't stay down. And the settings here, you can mess with them, see what different things do. This was changing the bottom, which I'll probably leave it like that. And then this will add in some more of his hair. Seems like it makes it, I don't know. So you just kind of mess with it. I don't like that feathered. Probably won't feather it at all. Now this doesn't have to be perfect because I'm just brushing this. So now I'm going to push Command J, so it's in a new layer. I'm going to click the layer below it and push New, which is down here. It looks like a piece of paper. It says Create New Layer, and I'm going to push B. I'm going to pick a color that I like by pushing Alt, and it'll bring up the eyedropper tool. And we are going to color. Now, I actually like having some texture, so what I'm going to do, and as you can see, it's doing a great job of keeping his hair, but it didn't do a great job here, so, but it might not even show. So first I'm going to decrease the opacity here. That doesn't look bad. I might even actually go lower because I like that shadow there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out because I really like the shadow. So I guess what I could do, let me try something else. Let's open up a new layer here. And let's just do like the top. Make sure it's the same. So, and then we'll lower. That looks better. Let's see, before and after. Now it really helps when you do stuff like this where you go before and after like a ton of times, because it's going to make sure that you know how to, you're going to see like what you're doing. I have my black tool here, and we're going to just kind of color this back in because it was kind of making it look a little weird. Did it even do anything? Okay, I was like, this is weird. Okay, that's better. That's much better. Okay, so as you can see, when I colored the blue in there, it kind of took a lot of the texture out. Now, usually my blankets are not this wrinkly, but like I was saying, this blanket was like a wrinkly one. I think I actually like that at 11. I don't know, I might even just, this isn't even really doing anything. This is only at 9. I might even just keep it alone, keep it away. And all I really need to do, we're gonna flatten the layer now. Oops. Flatten, and we're going to just take a few of these. This is like my favorite blanket to photograph, but my least favorite to edit because it's ridiculous. No matter what you do it's always wrinkly. But it looks so awesome. I love this blanket. Like, just the colors and the texture. Just amazing. It's one of my favorite blankets. Just not fun to edit because of all the wrinkles. And this was actually good. Usually I have even more wrinkles in the background. I must have had like 100 clips up. That's pretty good. Okay, now we're gonna lower, my favorite thing, lower the opacity. And that's good. And that's about it. That's about all I would do. And I'll link in the description a link to the final edited product too, if you want to see it more or less. And if anyone wants to know, well, I guess I don't need to save that, but whenever I crop files, I always crop for the internet. I always crop at 5:7. Kind of like to be zoomed out a little when I do it. So we're going to crop it and pretend this image is saved. When I save it for client, when I edit this for clients and stuff, what I do is I save it as a Photoshop document, always uncropped. That way, whenever they order like a print or whatever, I can crop it. And then what we're going to do is push Command, Alt, and I, and we're going to change it to 2048 on the longest side. This is for posting on Facebook. We're going to push Command J. We're going to go up to Filter, and we're going to go to Sharpen and Unsharp Mask. Goodness. Okay, I'm trying to see. So this is pretty good. You can always lower. It's actually pretty sharp. So you can see how sharp it is without the sharpening mask thing. Whoa, that is like crazy. It's ridiculous. Okay, so you don't need to sharpen it like crazy. Like honestly, you can always lower the opacity. So this is without, this is with. It's way too sharp. Makes them too crunchy. So I'll probably do like 23% or so. And then I would put my logo on it, and then I guess if anyone wants to see it, I'll just open it. This is my logo document. I don't have it on place because it's just easier for me to, is this gonna open? Okay, there it is. And we're gonna pull this one. I have it on all kinds of sizes. Now, because of the people that steal images and all that stuff, I put it in like ridiculous places so people cannot steal my photos, because it does unfortunately happen. I have my pictures stolen all over the world, and unfortunately you can't do anything about it when they're in other countries usually. So just put it in a really hard place for them to edit it out. And then you could do like this if you really wanted to, but people will probably think you're crazy. They already think I'm crazy enough for doing this, but that's okay. So yeah, so I would save, oh, and another thing is when you save this, make sure you save it as a PNG file if you're uploading to Facebook. So that is how I edit. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments below, and I'll try to check back here and see if anyone asked any questions, and hopefully this helped you. So have a great day.